Huh? Huh? Yeah.
God is your master. Do we need your God? Who is your God? It doesn't matter. Do we need your God? Who is your God? Is he your master? Do we need your God? Who is your God? It doesn't matter. Do we need a God? Tell me, help me, give me one good reason to believe. Yeah. For the hell of it, please provide some evidence that makes this God dude relevant. Why do we need this dude in order for us to all just be good? Who is your God? Is he the master? Do we need your God? Who is your God? It doesn't matter. Do we need a God? Who is your God? Is he the master? Do we need your God? Who is your God? It doesn't matter. Do we need a God? Tell me, help me, give me one good reason to believe.
What up? What up? What up, everybody? And I was trying to show everybody the TV didn't play the damn thing, so it spoiled the introduction. But welcome to the Atheist Network Group, another version of the OZone, and I have special guests with me today. Jared and Ben, what's up, gentlemen?
Not much.
We're live. We're in the same room. Fuck COVID. No, I'm kidding. We're doing the damn thing. But so we put the video, and I'll show them the video without the delay afterwards. That way they can appreciate the music and the video going together at the same time, and it not being all broken up. But hopefully you guys enjoy it, and the rest of the folks in your group enjoy it. And yeah, I had a couple announcements, but I'll save it for the end. So first of all, Jared, Ben, thanks for hanging out with me here in downtown Fort Wayne. And we met, well, I got there at 10. I thought it was at 10 a.m.
Oh, but really? You got that early?
Yeah. And but the group started at 10:30, so I had time to go find coffee, but then the coffee shop wasn't open at 10. Yeah, that whole little what's that area down there?
Promenade Park or the Landing?
The Landing. It's so weird because like they must all be Christians because nothing's open on Sunday.
Not till like noon.
It's like it's a coffee shop. Why are you not open? Anyway, no, thank you guys for joining me. And yeah, let's jump right into it. And everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out. And if it feels like I'm off my normal routine or vibe, it is because this is different and this is weird. I have live faces in front of me, and it's like I'm trying to make sure everything looks good, sounds good. Everybody in the chat says it's everything looks good and sounds good. So we'll go from there. So first of all, Jared, you and I, and then several folks from the group you started met at Better here in Fort Wayne, June 25th and 26th. And we met there. I didn't even know your group existed.
Same. I didn't know about TANG.
So first of all, how did you find out about Better?
Do you know Karen from Free Thought Fort Wayne?
Yes.
She actually posted that in our group, and she was like, "Oh, I think you guys might like to go to this atheist gathering," and because we've been to a couple of their meetings as a group, and she was just like, "Yeah, this looks like something right up your alley. So why don't you guys go?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure. That sounds
awesome.
That definitely seems like something we would like."
Awesome. Yep. And
I heard on the Seth Andrews podcast he was going to be in Fort Wayne.
Oh, good old Seth. Good old Seth.
I was like, really? He's coming to Fort Wayne? And I looked up and saw the Better conference online.
Hell yeah. Yeah. No, I love Seth. Well, we could talk about some Seth stuff here in a little bit, but and you might want to bring your mic just a little bit closer to you.
Okay.
So yeah, we got to meet there, and then this is kind of a side topic, but then we also got to go to O'Reilly O'Reilly's and have drinks and talk about mythicism and shit, but we can talk about that later. But as we shared, or as I shared with you before we went live, most of the folks that I've talked to on our channel so far are those that have either been a part of TANG, or a part of TANG, or are regular guests, you know, so to speak. You're one that you just within the last 60 days found out about Better, found out about TANG. What were your thoughts on Better? What were maybe some takeaways? And what did you say? Just overall, what did you think about the event and your experience there?
Well, overall, I loved it. Venue could have been just a little bit better. I mean, doing what you could with what you had, but overall, amazing speakers, amazing everything. Pretty much, it was just, I never thought anything like that would come to Fort Wayne. And when I heard about it, I was like, I know I have to go. And now I have friends that I can go with.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And I for the record, I agree with you on the venue. That's why next year it will not be there. We're going to get better, so to speak. And I appreciate your feedback and on Better, because we do want to no pun intended, get better, but we do want to improve year to year. And I know not just the venue in and of itself, but the parking and catering, and it was a shit show. But from a 30,000 foot view, I do know that everybody loved the speakers and the time, and we did too. It was awesome, and it was great to be able to meet you guys. And part of this that we had talked about even that day at the Coliseum, I think we talked about it a little bit at O'Reilly's, is encouraging people to, or helping people to find local groups. Because when we deconstruct, we deconvert, usually the biggest topic you hear come up, the number one things, or the number one thing that people bring up, is that loss of community, and that loss, that kind of family, you know, element. And you're doing that in Fort Wayne, you and your group, and I know you have others helping you, and you guys are doing that. I think that's awesome. It's badass, and I appreciate it, because as much as I would love to do it, I don't have the bandwidth. So there has to be, like, all of us have a part in this, right? All of us have a piece of this puzzle that we own, you know, to make shit happen. So let's just get to it. So why did you start it? First of all, when did you start it, and why did you start this group?
Well, I started it last October, I think, just because I didn't have any friends here in the fort. I had lived here for 5-6 years, and I was pretty much a recluse. I was an atheist through and through, but I have all of the friends that I did have were very religious, and we had nothing in common to talk about. Like, yeah, we could talk about the weather and video games and this and that, but when things started getting deeper, there was this disconnect. Like, you couldn't bridge. And I just wanted some more friends that I could actually sit down and talk to and engage with on these deep conversations. Like you brought up, objective versus subjective morality. I could never have that conversation with half the friends that I had before I made this group.
Right.
And it's been great for my mental health. And that's another reason, because I was in a really low place before I started the group. And I just wanted some sort of outlet, something to do with my time on a Sunday afternoon when I was doing nothing, when I was bored. And I just wanted friends. And
that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, it's that I think it's just part of the human element, right? Where it's that desire for connection and validation. That when you walk away, you still want to, like, even though you don't agree with that anymore, we still, all of us, need to feel that validation that we're not crazy, right? That these thoughts, these feelings, or the lack of a belief in a God, these things are normal, and we're seeking, you know, those relationships, or at least that validation. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. I wanted that community again. and I wasn't able to find it in anything else. Yeah, you can build communities around a certain video game, or you can build communities around this or that, but there's something about a religious aspect where you get together and you talk and you engage with one another in a level that's just completely different than online. Because I see a lot of atheists that like to gather online, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's
Mhm.
just I want something a little more concrete, like something face to face, like what we're doing now. There's nothing wrong with doing it online, but there's just this different feeling when you're sitting face to face with 5 or 6 of your good friends and you're talking about something that you feel very deeply about.
Yeah, absolutely. And bring that a little closer to me.
Sorry.
No, well, I don't want you to cut. I want them to be able to hear everything you're saying. So, no, what you're saying is deadly accurate, spot on. And I have majority of my friends now that I've met via the internet and online, especially because of COVID and all that shit. I mean, Jen and I, my girlfriend, met via online in YouTube. Now we're crazy in love. So I'm grateful for it, right? I'm appreciative of that ability to connect. But there is no replacement for the human interaction. What you're talking about, right? Face to face. And there's been several people, and one of them, which I loved, Drew, genetically modified skeptic, was on last week. And he said that the one thing that stuck out to him about Better was that we built in to the schedule, to the plan, that there was a huge focus on the community and on that relationship building and the time to just chill the fuck out, talk, build friendships, relationships, things like that. Because what you're saying, there's no price tag. There is no price tag you can put on it. And you can share, you're free to share whatever you want about your own personal experiences and things, leaving the faith and so on and so forth. But for me, what's that? I can't remember if it was on our show or I was on somebody else's show, but I was simultaneously going through my, not just deconstruction, but deconverting and going through the divorce after 16 years of marriage. And I was losing everything. Like everything was falling apart. And all of a sudden I found myself in, I call it the cuckoo nest or the behavioral center. And it's because I would sit there and stare at the ceiling and I'm like, what do I have left? I thought this God was real. The God's not here. I thought I had a friend that stuck closer than a brother. That's what the Bible told me. But then I found out that that's not true. And then there's also this other person that's been in my life that said that would always be there, but is also just given up, right? And I found myself in this spot where it was like I need something to connect with. I need people to connect with. Now that was at the very, very beginning, going into COVID, and I was very, very fortunate, even online, to meet an amazing group of people to give that support and that love. And what I appreciate about your group, and I've been there twice now since the conference, is the first time, even today, the camaraderie and dare I use Christianese and say unity, but that's what it is, right? And it can be a very serious conversation, and then like today, next thing you know, we're talking about bands and music, and then it goes back to like you said, the subjective, objective morality, and then right back into music. But that's what we need to normalize this and then humanize what we are as atheists are lacking belief. So so we covered the when and why you started it, the group. What are not just your plans, but when you talk to the group of folks that you have coming together every Sunday, and you're approaching a year, you're close to your 1 year mark. Congratulations to all of you. What's the goal? What do you want out of this? What do you see out of this?
Like, just starting out, the goal was to serve the community and serve ourselves as best we could. And I think that's still pretty much the goal. It's just I want to serve a larger community. I want to turn the HFA into a nonprofit
Absolutely.
and do what every church does, and organize food drives, clothing drives, hygiene drives.
There was a church doing like their homeless outreach, providing food, whatever. And as I was walking up, because I got there way earlier than I should have been, before they could get their food, it was, let me tell you about the Lord. Let me tell you what Jesus did for you and why. And this is what makes me sick. Why he did it. You're a sinner in need of a savior. You're blah, blah, fuck you. The folks you're talking to right now, asshole, are hopeless. They're hopeless. They're literally hanging on to any shred of anything that they can find to just make it. And now you're going to come out here and do this shit and be a predator? Like, that's prey. You're literally just preying on their vulnerability, their lack of finances or food or whatever's. And you probably saw me pacing before I came up to the group, because I went live on TikTok, and I was like, no, people need to see this shit. And at one point, I think I had like almost 400 people.
Wow.
Watching. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about, you guys. This is why, and now I'm going to bring it back to your group and why I love that you're doing this. This is why R.I.P. Christopher Hitchens. If there is a God, it's Christopher Hitchens. And the book you're reading, your group's reading, God is Not Great, subtitle, Religion Poisons Everything. And I said it while I was doing the TikTok live. Why can you motherfuckers not come out here and just do it because you care about people? Why can you motherfuckers not come out here and do it because they matter? Because they matter. Why do we have to have these tags and these things hooked to them as far as prayers and faith and why can't you just do it because you love them and keep your goddamn mouth shut and just feed them? So the reason I tied it back to you is, one, I love that you guys are reading that book, because that book, and if Jena were here, she would say it too, but like that was one of those books that helped us as far as our deconversion and all that. But how ironic, I said all that to ask a question. How ironic is it that they're out there doing that? And I'm watching the pastor just lean up against a rail. He's not doing shit. Everybody else is doing the work. Blah, blah, blah. How ironic is it? They're doing that, but yet there's a group literally just on the other side of the building, Jared and Ben and the rest of those that attend, that you're not there yet. We're not there yet, but obviously that's in the plans, that we all want to do that. And I believe we'll do that without any of that bullshit. What do you think that does to Fort Wayne? Once you can really take hold of that and see that type of vision or goal come to fruition, what does that do to Fort Wayne when people know that they don't need the religion? What do you think that does to Fort Wayne? Sorry, that was a really long-winded question, but
No, you're good. I think it makes Fort Wayne just a better place to live. I think it would make every city anywhere, no matter what, a better place to live. Just getting rid of all those strings. Like, you don't need these strings to do good. Like, I still have poison ivy all over my body, like from helping a little old lady weed her yard with our group. And all of us got poison ivy, and we were all miserable and we were all tired and hot and sweaty. but we didn't preach to her. We didn't say, hey, come to our atheist group, give up your religion should you have one. Like we just said, here you go, ma'am, your yard is clean, have a nice day.
That's it, right?
Yep.
Were you there, Ben?
Yeah.
Did you preach? No, you didn't share the gospel?
No, I think I would share is at the end of it, after we had the yard clean, she came up to me and she was kind of a little grouchy at first, kind of, typical lady, kind of a little grouchy, and didn't seem to be that really happy that we were there. But after we had gotten all the work done, she just really opened up and, she's like, oh, I'm just so grateful you guys did that, and it's just such a great thing. And, because we just volunteered to do it. She's like, oh, I got all these family members that won't help me, and no one else will help me, but you guys came out here and did it. And I was just like, we're happy to do it.
Absolutely. I think it came through, but just in case Ben didn't come out there, to give you the short version, basically the lady that they're helping was maybe a little short fused at first. Why are you here? Why are you doing this? But once you realize what they're doing, the job was done, the yard was clean. Now everybody has poison ivy and they're sweating their whatever's off. She was grateful, and I don't know this. We don't know this, but I would lean to believing that if she's had other maybe church groups show up, that it was probably kind of a culture shock, so to speak, that you guys walked away and there was no pamphlets left. There's no, can we pray for you? Is there anything we can pray for? Is there a family member we can pray for? Right? Because that's typically what happens. And one of my greatest issues with the whole, especially, the American church, Christian church, when they do these homeless events, I call them feed and go. They don't build relationships. They do not invest into the human. They go do their good deed, and then they and I said on my TikTok live, what if? Well, I'll just ask, because we're all former Christians, right?
Yep.
All right. Let's say that. Well, let's talk about the churches we were a part of. Did any of the churches that we attended or we were a part of or grew up in, whatever, did they, if we went downtown and did that, if any of those folks prayed the sinner's prayer and gave their hearts to the Lord, and let's say there was some type of drug abuse or addiction problems, whatever, is that church, that organization, are they equipped to then take on the burden to help them rehabilitate and to help them heal and help them recover?
Absolutely not. I did exactly what you're talking about. We went downtown Logansport, which is not very big, but we went downtown or anywhere, and we would pray the sinner's prayer and then never see those people again. Like, what happened to them? I have no idea. They could have relapsed. They could have continued to go to a church in Logansport somewhere, but it was none of our business. We did our good deed. We washed our hands of it. We washed our hands with it, and then walked away. It was none of our business anymore.
Yeah, that's well. Before I because I've been talking a lot, so I'm supposed to be the interviewer. God damn it! Now looking back at that, Jared, how do you feel about that now? Knowing that you did, and I think it's natural for all of us to be like, oh man, that's shitty. But just from your mouth, like when you look back at it now, how does it make you feel, and what do you want to do to make a difference, I guess, in that department now?
Well, now it kind of doesn't really feel any different than what I'm doing now. I mean, yeah, I kind of regret leading people to the Lord, because I went on like 6 different missions trips with like the World Changers organization, a Southern Baptist. Yeah, Southern Baptist organization, and we rebuilt people's houses in the name of the Lord. And we proselytized the whole community. We were out and about and led people to the Lord all day, and then went back and praised the Lord some more. But I don't feel bad about the good I did. I'm very proud of the amount of good that I did in rebuilding houses and helping the less fortunate. I feel a little bit less good about the religious aspect of it, that I might have impacted these people's lives in a way that they might still think about to this day, that like, oh, he was such a good Christian, and then to find out I'm not really a good Christian anymore might break their heart, might change their mind, but I doubt it. I mean, they're in deep.
Were Jared, in your theist days, were you a true Christian?
Oh, I was the truest Christian. The truest Christian. Like there was no other better Christian than me.
Of course not.
Yeah.
God, does that not sound like an abusive fucking relationship? Fuck me.
You can't leave it. You can't leave it, or bad things will happen.
Bad shit happens. You leave Yahweh, bad shit. That's what I'm saying. It's abusive. It's the abusive partner, husband. You know, whatever. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. Is that a threat?
Most definitely.
Are you threatening me right now, Yahweh? You know, and yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But I was glad that you created that segue, because like literally I was pacing and I walked up. I was like, nope, I'm gonna wait till we do this stream, because I think it's important, because we're talking about local groups, and that was a local experience. I want to be able to share that and it be raw, you know, when I brought it up to you guys, and not be regurgitated from earlier, you know, conversations. And that is where, for me now, Jared and Ben, to kind of wrap it back around, I love what you said about, you still do value and appreciate the good things that you did. You know, it's remodeling houses or painting or whatever. And I think that's something that I can do better at, or I should do better at, is amidst a lot of the fucked up shit that I said or did, there were a lot of other just very practical, simple things that I did to maybe improve or help somebody's quality of life or their living situation, or even buying food and stuff without asking them to pray. You know, that wasn't every time, but there was times that I look back that I didn't ask for a prayer, or there was no call to salvation. It was just because I cared, right? But I'll share this, and you guys, you know, again, feel free to share as much as you want to. But like for me, it was constantly this. Anytime I was sharing the gospel, it was always the if you don't know Jesus and something terrible happens tonight, and you get in a car crash or your house burns down, what the fuck ever, and you die, do you know where you're going? Are you going to go meet your Savior for eternity and live in bliss and blah, 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 blah? Or are you going to burn in eternal torture and suffering and gnashing of teeth? Was that a similar message for you, or am I alone there?
Oh, no, definitely. I was raised Baptist, but I'm also bisexual. So, I mean, I was in constant fear of hell. I knew I was going to burn. Like, hands down, knew it. Like, no question about it. Knew I was going to hell. Because, I mean, if you know anything about Baptists, you know how they feel about homosexuality.
That's a no-go.
Yeah, definitely no-go.
That's you don't even get to pass go, bro. Not even the first time. So especially Southern Baptist. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a literal living hell. Like, that's all I could think about. I would wake up drenched in sweat from night terrors, like just constant thoughts of hell and burning and damnation. And, you know, the second I stopped believing in all of that, I was just immediately a happier person.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It's crazy how night and day it was. And I mean, obviously I didn't just stop believing all at once, but gradually I lost belief after belief after belief. Like first it was Adam and Eve in biology class, and I was just like, okay, that's bullshit. That's not true. All right, so God did evolution. God directed evolution. Okay, maybe that's not true. Okay, maybe that's not true. And it just keeps going down the line until you get to hell and heaven and God himself. And you're like, okay, none of it's true. Now what?
That's the age old question. Now what? Because anything else just really turns into a circular argument or got of the gaps, right?
Yep. I mean, you just start plugging holes with God, and then you find out that there are better plugs. The God plug doesn't fit well; it's got gaps in the gaps. You just
like butt plugs. We could say that on here.
Okay.
He was like, "Oh shit." we talk about all the kinks here, but no, it does all of a sudden. It's like what now? Where our minds were indoctrinated and trained to just plug in God, but now we don't have that, right? So again, another great segue. So when you walked away from faith, or I hate saying that, not walked away, but when you were no longer convinced, what happened? Once the plug it in, once that was gone, then what happened for Jared?
Pretty much immediately became an ardent agnostic atheist. Like I was watching Christopher Hitchens all day. I was watching Richard Dawkins, Matt Dillahunty, Sam Harris, Tracy Harris from the Atheist Experience, just imbibing all of it, just drinking it in constantly and constantly and constantly. And I was still in the Marine Corps at this point. So
Thank you for your service. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, no problem. But I had to keep that kind of closeted because I mean, the Marine Corps is very religious. I mean, I was serving with Muslims and Hindus and Christians, but being an open atheist was something almost unheard of. I mean, nobody like was an open atheist that I knew of. I mean, there were people who didn't give a shit about their religion, but they were still religious of a kind. So, I mean, I had to keep it a secret from most everyone around me. And then when I finally came out to my wife, she was like, well, what the fuck? You're an atheist?
So how did that go?
Actually, she was a lapsed Catholic. So
Okay.
she was kind of fine with it. She just wasn't really comfortable with the term atheist. Like a lot of people are like, oh, well, aren't you agnostic? Well,
It's a bad word, man.
I'm both. Yeah, it is a bad word.
Yeah, it's an awful word. Yeah, I had a conversation. Just because I said the word atheist, that all of a sudden you literally would have thought I was Satan, either incarnated or reincarnated. We had I'm glad you brought that. So being in church and growing up in or around church or religion, what does the landscape look like for you, family, close friends, maybe you grew up with, went to school with? What do those dynamics look like now?
Well, I've disowned my father. He is he's a prick, and he's like Jesus this, Jesus that after AA, and he chose Jesus as his higher power, and he's just a marginally less violent, sober Christian.
Okay.
Like he's not a drunk anymore, which I'm sort of thankful for. But I mean, other than that, everything's normal. My mom, she doesn't care. She has her moments of worry where she's like, oh no, what if he goes to hell? But other than that, my grandparents don't talk about it. Like I don't talk about it with them. Like, why would I? Like they've only got
grandparents. Yeah. No.
They've only got a couple more years, and I don't want to ruin those years by tainting it with religious talk. I would rather just enjoy the time that I have left with them and continue. But like my mom and my dad, I want to talk about it with them, and they just don't want to talk about it with me. So I never really liked my dad all that much, so I've disowned him instead of waiting for him to disown me because of my beliefs. I was just like, nope, I don't want you in my life anymore. You've done enough to fuck me up. So see you later or not, whichever.
And was that decision made pre or post deconversion?
Post deconversion. I'll tell you a little story. We were at Easter and they wanted me to get up and pray. And I was just like, no, I don't do that anymore. It kind of pissed my dad off. So a couple minutes later, we were having a heated discussion about gun control. And I'm a Marine, but I'm also like a liberal. So, I mean, and he's a diehard conservative. They'll take him from my cold, dead hands. Fucking. And I was like, yeah, they will take them from your cold, dead hands. And he didn't like that very much. So he got up and tried to choke me, like just straight on, put his hands on me.
So hold on. I guess. So we're talking, like you're in we're talking about two grown ass men.
Yes.
Father and son. Okay.
And I was a Marine. And he got up and put his hands on me. And I was like, I'm not a kid anymore. You better take your fucking hands off me. And we wrecked my grandparents' living room on Easter. I always think it was Thanksgiving or something, but it was Easter, the day of the rising of our Lord.
He has risen.
Yeah. And we wrecked their living room, and everybody was crying and screaming. And this was in front of my 5-year-old, my newborn. So like,
oh fuck.
Yeah. So that's my father in a like encapsulated in one little story.
Bro. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's yeah. I don't know what to say, but I'm sorry. That fucking sucks. That sucks.
Yeah, I'm over it.
But I'm glad you're over it. But that for those listening now or listen to it later that have similar experiences, are currently experiencing something at least similar to that, know that sucks. That's not normal, and you don't have to tolerate that. You don't have to put up with that. And just like Jared sharing, sometimes I'll just. This is what we do here at Tang, and I've said this before live, so I have no problem saying it. For those listening now or listening in the future, I've always said it. It doesn't matter whether it's the person that put the seed to the egg, or it's the person that you popped out the vagina. Once you become an adult, if those two human beings don't want to treat you with the same respect that they expect, fuck them. And it sucks, man. And I've been there. Now, not to that degree physically, but emotionally and psychologically, I've been there. And we need to know where the healthy boundaries are, right? To protect our own mental health, which is what we've talked about. And it's something on Tang that we talk about all the time, is mental health and taking care of yourself and making ourselves and yourself the priority, because again, once we walk away from this faith, we realize that there's only one episode. There's no sequel. There's no sequel to this shit. Right. So now post deconversion, and not just with the group, I'll interlock them. So as far as you as an individual, Jared, and in the group, let's say I'm gonna put my entrepreneur hat on here for a second. What's your 5-year vision? What's your 5-year goal? What do you see for yourself? And what do you see for the group? What do you think you and this group are capable of? Because I think you have a bunch of badass people around you.
Well, thank you. 5-year plan, I would say within the next year, I would like to incorporate as a legit nonprofit and begin the process of legitimizing what we do, instead of like working through it's a Christian organization called NeighborLink to get our projects and stuff that we do. I would like to start being able to find those projects on our own and being able to facilitate those projects on our own. And excuse me. Then after that, I would like to be able to just organize our own food drives, because we've done a food drive and it was moderately successful. We raised like 600 or 700 plates worth of food for the community.
That's fantastic.
The Fort Wayne Community Harvest food bank. And then I would just like to be able to help people more. That's really all I care about, is helping people with this group, helping people come together and helping people come from that point together out into the community and help the community at large.
And Jena's in the chat. She'll back me up when I say this. So and Jared and Ben, no, I blow smoke up no person's ass. That's just not my style. It's either I'm behind you, I like you, I don't like you. Like there's no, well, part of it's my bipolar diagnosis. There is no gray, right? It's I'm a very black and white thinker. It's this or it's that. And I remember talking with you and again, I'm terrible with fucking names, but there was two other people there that were talking, and I remember telling Jena, like, I don't know what it is, but I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the vibe. I'm feeling you know whatever it is. I don't know, because I know it's not a spiritual, but just that camaraderie, that the maybe just the pure intent. Like there's no strings attached. There's nothing there is why I was like, no, whatever we need to do to help and to get behind, that's what we, want to do. So the first thing I want to ask, because we're almost at the hour mark, so we'll go about hour and 15, because I do want to give time for Q&A, because I have a couple of questions to ask to get some of the questions going, hopefully in the chat. But as someone started a local group, whether it's in Fort Wayne or wherever, you did the damn thing, bro. Right? And you have an amazing group of people around you.
Yes, I do.
I've got to meet them and talk with them, talk to them and listen to them. You do, and Ben being one of it, like, you have an amazing group of people, but you took the initiative and you started the shit. From your point of view, what could I do, or other, let's say, content creators or other people that have influence in other areas other than just local? What can we do to help you?
Promotion, I would say. Just keep the word out that these things exist, and there is always somebody around that is willing to help you, because that's what I wanted this to be as well. Instead of just helping the larger community, I wanted to be able to help our own group members. So I just let everyone know that there's always a helping hand, like in a group that's local or national, or there's always somebody out there. You're not alone. You don't have to go this alone.
And yes, I agree. And that was part of my presentation. And better was we are not alone. We don't have to do this by ourselves. The only reason we would ever have to do this by ourselves is if we so choose to do this thing by ourselves. But there is this huge fucking community, or being a street guy, I call it the hood. We got this whole hood behind behind us, but we have all these amazing fucking people behind us. And I'm going to ask this, and then anybody in the chat that has any questions, I want you to jump in. Just put at Oz, that way I can see it, because a lot of times, Jared, people don't know where to start, and they don't know how to start. And that can be the difference between something in a city or a town starting or never starting, right? Is because they have no fucking clue how to even do the damn thing that you're doing. So let's start here with the basics. What was the first thing you did when you wanted to start this group? What was the first fucking thing you did?
I posted on the Fort Wayne Reddit. I was just like, hey, looking for some secular friends. I've been living in Fort Wayne for 6 years. I don't have any real friends here in the fort that are secular. I just want some friends. And I got like 50, 60 likes, which is a decent amount for the Fort Wayne subreddit. And everyone was like, hey, secular here, or hey, atheist here. Do you want to chat? You want to do this? You want to do that? I don't know if Ben had responded to that one. He's shaking his head or nodding his head. You saw the post. And then a couple days later, I was just like sitting in my room and I was like, I should make a group. I should make like a church group minus the bullshit that goes out and does good things in the community and doesn't believe all the bullshit. And then I was just like, all right, I'm going to post about that on the Fort Wayne Reddit. And I just made up a post and I was like, hey, does anybody want to meet at a local park or something and kind of just see where things go? And then I started writing up all these like mission statements and it just kind of snowballed. And then I came up with the name and I was just like, all right, that's a good name, whatever. And then just kind of started checking off boxes and then finally had our first meeting and it went really well. And pretty much everything else is the same. It's all history from there. Like,
and what would you tell somebody? Let's say let's say this is the first time you and Ben have ever met, and Ben wants to do the same thing you're doing, but in a different city. But let's say it takes Ben like 3 months to get maybe 3 people to show up on a regular basis. What words of encouragement or motivation would you give to Ben to understand that it's worth it to keep going? Because it could go from it's been 3 to 6 months and only 3, but all of a sudden something pops and now you have 10, then 12, then 15. What would you do to offer that kind of encouragement to somebody? Maybe they're getting defeated because more people aren't showing up.
I would tell them that I went through the exact same thing. It was me, Ben, and one other person for like 6 months. It was just us 3 getting together at the library for like 6 months. There was maybe 1 or 2 other people who would show up sporadically, but it was just us 3 for like 6 months and nobody else. And I would just say, push through that. Like, it will change. And now we've got like 8, 9, 10 people coming on any given Sunday. And I hope to keep growing it more than that, but I'm completely content with what we can do with this group now. Like, we went and painted a house with just like 5 or 6 of us.
It's awesome.
We weeded that lady's yard. We did a food drive. We've been tossing up ideas for more stuff and just kind of seeing where things land. But I mean, I would just say, keep trying. Like, there's never any harm to like just getting together with a group of friends on Sunday.
And I well, and Jen has heard me say this over and over again. Introduce me to someone that has not tried something and failed at least once or twice at it. And you're now introducing me to someone that is just happy with being complacent, and they're happy with just surviving. They don't want to thrive, right? And there's a huge difference in life between just surviving and thriving. And kudos to you, Jared and Ben and the rest of your group, because we are not the norm. We are not the norm, especially in the city of churches. We are not the norm. As I shared earlier, my brother pastors a church here, and we're not the norm. We are the outcasts. We're the ones thrown aside, because as soon as that label atheist comes out, the devil horns, come out. But let's see if we got any questions from the chat here before we wrap it, because I think I may have one more question, but I want to do this first. Yep. So what's up, Tobin? Tobin's a longtime subscriber, viewer of the Atheist Network group. Yep. Oz, do they have a building or do they meet in public places? And they may have jumped in after we had that conversation, but Jared, please share where you guys meet and where you go.
Well, and during the summer months when it's warm, we try to meet outside as often as possible. We've been meeting at Promenade Park here downtown for a while. That was where our first meeting was. And then when it started getting colder out, we moved to the public library, and we meet in one of their conference rooms for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And recently, I'm actually trying to purchase a house out in Columbia City. It's about like 30 minutes away from Fort Wayne, and I would like to start having like maybe one meeting a month out there since it's so far away. Like just have a cookout and have a great time on Sunday with everybody, and just spend like a couple hours chatting and eating hamburgers and hot dogs off the grill and just doing stuff like that.
So Jena, I hope you heard where he said he's buying his home. So the Holy Spirit must be leading Jared, because it looks like next year's Better event is going to be held in Columbia City.
Oh, really?
Just throwing that alley-oop out there. Just throwing it out there. But we do have another question for the panel. Do you plan on attending Better 2023? If so, what are you looking forward to, and how would you like to participate?
Yes, of course. We plan to go to Better 2023 and any Better that's in the Fort Wayne area for the foreseeable future. We would love to support you guys as much in any way possible. We would love to be involved in setup, breakdown, any kind of technical things that we can help with, anything at all we can help with. We would definitely love to help you guys, and looking forward to pretty much exactly the same thing as last year, the great speakers, the great community, and we would like maybe a booth for the local groups.
Oh, that's going down.
Okay.
That's going down. Yeah. Of course, I mean, babe, of course I'm going to be there. Ben, you coming to Better 2023?
Yeah.
He said, sure.
I think, I mean, if we could even get up on stage to speak, maybe Jared or some of our group.
Well, we have a couple of things up our sleeves, not just for local groups that want to come out, but even for, well, I'm not going to get to it because then I'm going to ruin surprises. But yes, that. Next question. What can TANG do for you guys, for your group?
I would just say promotion. Just keep the word out there that we exist, and that's all I could really ask you guys to do. I mean, if you guys wanted to promote our like food drives, we did a GoFundMe so we could collect money instead. That's where most of our donations came from. We raised like $150 from most people outside the group. Most people in the group brought food to the meetings and stuff, and I just took it back to my house. But just sharing our events or anything like that, like just to get the word out there that we exist, and that's about all I could ask for.
And we will do that. And so we're obviously we're live now. This will because YouTube loves to fuck with me. We're live now, but we will take this down off my channel as a recorded, and then re-premiere it, and then get even more traction for you guys. And then in the description of that, it'll have your website, your Patreon, all that. And then moving forward after that, each and every normal stream we do, and please, I'm not talking about my bullshit DJ streams, because those are irrelevant. I'm talking about the actual content that we put out. We will have all of your guys' info on every single description that we do going forward. And my goal, and I don't want to put a timeline on it because I hate setting faulty expectations, but my goal is eventually to have like like say we do an 1.5-hour stream, like every 30 to 45 minutes, like there's just like quick, like minute, maybe 2 minute at the most, like little quick commercial hits, like you see some YouTube channels do, where maybe one round is you guys, then the next round is, you know, maybe a new show we have coming out, whatever. But we want to incorporate you guys into that because we want to normalize this, and we want more channels getting behind their local groups. And that's, if we're going to normalize atheism, we're going to humanize us devils, you know, right? That's what we have to do. But before we wrap up, I want to do two things. One, Jared has a little book that he's working on. So I want to talk about that. And then Ben, if you're comfortable, I'm gonna have you trade places. And I got like 1 or 2 questions, as long as you're comfortable. I got 1 or 2 questions, but Jared's he's way smarter than I am. He's writing books. I just get on here and talk shit. I just get on here and talk. Jared's writing books and doing the damn thing. So Jared, tell us about your book. What's the title? When do people get to buy this shit?
The title is Ranting and Raving, a compilation of essays on religion and atheism. It is basically the first 20 pages or so is an introduction to me, just like pretty much what I told you guys, a little autobiography for the first like 20 pages or so. And then the next 140, 150 pages are just little essays and blurbs that I've kind of written over the past few years. Some of them are like, the historicity of the Bible, Christian intolerance, a despotic deity. It's about like God being evil.
No way.
Yeah. Christian ignorance, nonsense, how Christian beliefs are mostly nonsense. Just random things that I kind of wrote like 3 or 4 pages about. And I was just like, I'll put these all together and see if I can't raise money for the group.
Oh yeah. And so are you, or what do you at least plan or intend to be your means of distribution?
I'm publishing it on Amazon.
Okay.
That's Amazon, probably paperback and ebook. I don't have a copyright yet, so this is just a proofing copy. I have to wait for the copyright to come back before I can actually publish it.
Right.
So it could be another couple weeks. I put in for the copyright like a month ago, and they haven't gotten back to me yet. So,
you know, I know a couple that I think you're familiar with. Actually, I know you are, but I'm being facetious. That I think you're familiar with that are awfully fucking good at the whole like self distribution, self publication thing, and their last name is Bowen. Dr.
Josh.
Bingo. He and Megan have mastered that shit. So if you ever need help, let me know. And if you don't have their contact, I'll get you hooked up with Dr. Josh. They've mastered that shit. So and shout out to Dr. Josh. Their digital, the digital and the you can get the hardback now is available. And I haven't seen the audio become available yet. But you know, when you have Seth Andrews doing your audio, you'll wait for a year, right? Yeah, Jared, before I start to drill your counterpart here, is there anything else that maybe I've missed? And I've been a poor host. Anything I've missed, or anything that you want to say before I grill Ben? No, I'm kidding. But before I talk to Ben.
No, honestly, I think you covered pretty much everything I expected us to talk about, and I'm very thankful for you to bring us on and let us kind of showcase what we're all about.
Absolutely. And this is the first time, but it won't be the last time. And what I want to do, and we're getting, it's Indiana, folks. So we're getting closer to fall. But what I'd love to do is find a way, maybe like mid-spring. Next year was still like 70, and I'm not sweating my hums off, where we can do a stream outside and have people, like whoever wants to jump in, whatever. And it's, you know, and do that. Because again, it's all about normalizing and humanizing, right? I think that's important. But I just want to say, Jared, when I met you at Better, it was awesome to fucking meet you. And it's so important that you and those like you are doing what you're doing. And this is how we continue to normalize this, and it be okay for us to go into a courtroom or a post office or a school or where the fuck ever and say, it's okay for me to not believe.
Or get elected.
Yeah. I wasn't even going to go there, but it's and these are the first steps in that direction, right? And you know, to use, you know, business or entrepreneurial terms, you are literally doing the guerrilla marketing. You and those like you are doing the guerrilla marketing for skepticism, humanism, atheism, and for myself and for Tang and you know, the rest of the atheist YouTube community that checks in with us and listens and everything. I know that they would say the same thing. Thank you to you and your entire group, because whether it's 2 people that show up, whether it's 20 people or 200 people that show up every single week that you're doing that, you're making a difference. You're making an impact, and that goes to you and the entire group. So thank you. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Ben, I feel sorry. No, I'm kidding. No, I got 1 or 2 questions for Ben, and yeah, you probably flip spots there. Just 1 or 2 questions. I think this will be interesting. Can you hear me?
Yeah, much better.
Oh, got it. So Ben, how did you learn about the group?
I think Jared mentioned he posted it on the Fort Wayne subreddit, which I'm subscribed to the Fort Wayne subreddit, so I see that a lot anytime I get on Reddit. I don't remember what the title of it was, you know, just something like secular humanist looking for friends. And I looked up the post and I read all the comments. There was a bunch of people that sounded interested. And I think Jared's comments were like, okay, I'll try to get something together. I'll be in touch with you guys. And so once I saw that, I was like, that's definitely something I want to be a part of. So I just kind of kept my eye on the subreddit. And eventually he posted like, you know, first meeting is going to be, you know, week of October at Promenade Park. You know, if you want to show up, it'll be at 10 o'clock. And I showed up for it.
Now, do you show up to every person that shows interest on subreddit of starting a group?
No, I guess I was just particularly interested in the subject of atheist secular group,
which is what I figured. And why was that important to you?
I guess I very recently actually started deconverting. I wouldn't even say I was fully deconverted when I first started going. I was kind of in the process of it. You know, I'd been a Christian my whole life. I'd been raised a Christian, and it's kind of a long story how I first started deconverting, but it was just a lot of kind of some negative things going on in my life. And I went to the church and I tried to get help with it from the church, and just different pastors I talked to and reading the Bible, just none of them were able to help. They even just, I mean, really kind of hurt me and did a lot of kind of negative things to affect me, that I was just really disappointed, because I was like, you know, I'm supposed to, the way I was taught was, you know, I'm supposed to, you know, if you go to the church, if you read the Bible, that will provide answers. If you call on God, if you try to communicate with God, you know, he'll help you through tough times. And I just wasn't getting any of that. So I, you know, kind of started this process through, I guess I went to, you know, YouTube videos, kind of like Jared did when he deconverted, and just started watching all these atheist YouTube videos, and just all these videos just basically disproved the Bible and just disproved all these things that I was taught to believe. So I was kind of this really, you know, difficult headspace where I was like, you know, trying to figure out, you know, what is real and what is fake. And, you know, everyone around me, my whole community growing up was, you know, religious. So it's like, I can't really talk to them about it. You know, then I saw this group. I'm like, oh, these are atheists. These are people that kind of think like I do. So I can go to them. And so that's just been really helpful to go to the group and just kind of know, I guess, that I'm not alone, that there are other people that think like me and share similar experiences.
Oh man. And well, first of all, I want to say, I love that you found, and I love it for you. that you found that. And I know how important, how critical that is in certain periods, certain times. I know how valuable that is. So obviously through the deconstruction process, that was something that you not only were looking for, you needed, in that time. So now, as we talked about, well, even at the group today, and I didn't even realize that till we were meeting at the park today, and we talked about it a couple times today. And y'all might get me in my feels here for a minute, because I do acknowledge and validate how important these things are. Not just the deconstruction part of it, but Ben, what does this group mean to you? What knowing that you have these friends, these peers, right, that you can connect with on a weekly basis, whether you have that connection throughout the week or not, or this is maybe this is the only time you get to have that. What does this local Fort Wayne group mean to you?
Yeah, it's just really helpful for myself and for my mental health. Like I said, after deconverting, if I didn't find this group, I probably would have had to go to some therapist or something to kind of talk through all the, the stuff I was going through. Growing up as a Christian, I'd say the most positive thing that religion does, that, I mean, even maybe it might be the only thing that religion does good, is the community aspect. And that's what I always had growing up. Going to church on Sundays was having friends and having family who I'd see at church every Sunday, and we'd go to lunch together, and we'd, do different church groups and youth groups and youth events. And so then it's kind of like, once I started deconverting, I'm like, and once, the church did all this stuff to really hurt me, I'm like, I can't go back to church. I don't want to go back to church. I don't want to have anything to do with it. So then it's just like, this whole kind of avenue I had towards community, towards Sunday mornings, was just kind of like gone. But then, I found this group, and it's just like, I don't see why this group can't just do the same thing that churches do. You meet on Sunday, you talk, we even talked about like, getting together, kind of like, we're all kind of former musicians. A lot of us grew up playing in the Christian worship band. We talk about, like, we'll get together sometime and play some instruments together. We can do that. We can, do volunteer projects. We can get together, just like, going up youth group, they do bowling nights, whatever, we can do all this kind of stuff together. So, yeah, it's, it can just kind of be the same type of community you get from a church, just without the bullshit.
Yeah, and I love how both of you said that and yes, we do get to do that, and we're allowed to do all of that shit without the bullshit.
Yeah,
right. God is not required in order for us to have fun, right? And God and Christianity do not hold the rights to community or family or anything. There's no patent, there's no copyright, there's no any of that. We can still share that, and I think there's a very healthy part of that, and I think there's another part of the atheist community, not just on YouTube, but just in general, that they're afraid of that, because they're afraid of it looking like or appearing to be like an organized religion. Well, then I'll just say, being somebody that lack of better terms, former gangbanger. Does that mean because I was involved in a gang that's a religion? Because we all got together and talked about the same. We had common goals and common interests, and did that make our gang a religion? Because we shared those common interests and common thoughts. I would definitely say no to that. But Ben, I love hearing your take on it from someone that's going and you're attending and you're active, because the two times I've been there, I know I've got to see you, meet you, hear you, and that's fucking awesome, man. And my last question for you would be nothing to do with the group, okay? If there's anybody that listens to this now, or like I said earlier, we will, this is live, then we'll re-premiere it later. and more eyeballs will see it. So you don't have to worry about being nervous, because that's when everything's done, right? If there's anybody that they're finding themselves in that position where they're starting, maybe it's just internally they're asking the questions, and or they're doubting, and they don't know who to go to, and maybe they're still like, is it even okay? Is it even all right to doubt or be skeptical of any of this? Just on a very basic, fundamental level, what would you say to those folks? How would you encourage them in their pursuit of believing more true things than not?
Yeah, I mean, just do your research into it. You know, I don't think I'd ever really read the Bible fully growing up. You know, it's just in church they'd always just told me, you know, it's true, it's the word of God. We don't have any reason to question it. And then it's like I really started to read and started to watch videos on them, just like, no, there's no truth to it at all. There's just no reason to follow it. You know, like, you know, I go to church every Sunday morning and everyone's praising God and worshiping God, and it's like, okay, I like the music is nice, but you know, if God is real, if he is all powerful, why does he require our worship? Like, none of this just makes any sense. And so for me, it was just, I think just doing what was best for me was to leave it. So I think it's, you know, just ultimately you want to do what's best for yourself and best for your own happiness. And it's hard, you know, it's difficult to leave it, especially, you know, kind of depending on your situation, how you were raised. And, you know, I have a lot of, you know, family members and different people who I haven't told yet that I'm atheist, and, you know, I don't know if I ever would, you know, it'd be a hard conversation to have, but ultimately just, you know, follow the truth and do what's best for yourself.
Absolutely. And you know, Jared brought it up earlier about grandparents. Like, I have two grandmas that are in their 90s. That conversation ain't ever fucking happening. I don't care. You can put a goddamn gun to my head. That conversation ain't ever being had, right? And there's other folks that it does. It comes down to you know, family dynamics, personality profiles, all that. And you know, are you even are you in the state of mind to do as far as mental health and all that? And always take care of yourself first. And I agree with what you said, even what Jared said. Take care of your mental health first, and be protective of those that you love. And if even if they believe, if they're fragile, don't fuck with that. Don't be a dick, right? There's no point. I'm an atheist, and you fuck somebody up just because you want to preach that you're an atheist. Now you're just as bad as the theist, right? Now, before I wrap it up, again, why I have both of you in shot on here. You guys are fucking awesome.
Thank you. I
You
think
guys-
so too.
You guys are fucking awesome. I appreciate both of you in the group. I wish more of the group could have been here, but I understand that, you know, there's life and family and other things. But I look forward to and I know Jena and Tang. We look forward to helping and promoting however we can, especially when you start talking about the homeless out. I hate using the word, but that's all I can come with. The homeless outreach, and that's when you're going to get my heartstrings, and I'm there. Like that's I've been there, and I've had to do that. So when we're ready to do that, I'm there for the damn thing. So I appreciate y'all, and I love what you guys are doing. I love y'all. Appreciate your group. And anything you guys want to say before I wrap it up?
Good. Thanks very much, Sean.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna take these guys off screen that way they don't have to stare at the camera awkwardly. So, all right, and get the damn mic out of my face now. Everybody in the chat, thank you. And again, everything here is recorded. Well, obviously live, but recorded, and then we will re-premiere the first. What is today? Sunday? Yeah, the first of the week. YouTube be fucking with your boy. YouTube be fucking with your boy. But we'll re-premiere it, and all of the information you want, website, ways to support. Let's see if I can do this. My memory is still Humanist. Hold on, don't say. God damn it.
I think it's on his shirt.
No, I don't want to see it.
And
Humanist Fellowship Assembly. Boom. Got it right.
Yep.
God damn, those are a lot of big words for me, bro. Those
Just
are a lot of
just HFA. I think works too.
HFA. See, I'm good with that. I can remember the letters. HFA. Humanist. See, it already fucked me up. Fellowship Assembly. But don't my brain don't. It could be a great name. I will fuck it up. I can barely remember. If it wasn't for the fact that we call ourselves Tang, I'd be like, what's our name of our channel? Tang, the orange drink. Oh yeah, the orange drink. We got it. But no, we'll have all the links and everything with all the streams going forward. And if you do have questions and you're in an area that maybe you can't find a local group, or maybe you want to start a local group, if you want to start, let me know. And as long as Jared's comfortable, I'll get you in touch with Jared. And between he and myself, we'll do what we can to help you get it started, because that is fucking important.
Your God is your master. Do we need your God? Who is your God? It doesn't matter. Do we need your God? Who is your God? Is he your master? Do we need your God? Who is your God? It doesn't matter. Do we need a God? Tell me, help me, give me one good reason to believe. Yeah. For the hell of it, please provide some evidence that makes this God dude relevant. Why do we need this dude in order for us to all just be good? Who is your God? Is he the master? Do we need your God? Who is your God? It doesn't matter. Do we need a God? Who is your God? Is he the master? Do we need your God? Who is your God? It doesn't matter. Do we need a God? Tell me, help me, give me one good reason to believe.